Hello, everyone. I'm Debbie Saunders, the Executive Director of Artist Co-op 7. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our first virtual show entitled In Full View, a tribute to Rachelle Mark. I greeted you with a hello and not a good afternoon because I'm hoping that a silver lining of needing to have this show online only is that friends, relatives, and patrons from all over the world might be tuning in. The game plan for today's reception is as follows. All 16 artists will speak to the guests for a couple of minutes about their work. For optimum viewing pleasure, please use full screen mode and speaker view on your screen, not gallery view. Our guests will be muted by the host during the presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please use the chat room and we will do our best to respond after the presentation. To view the entire online exhibit and find out purchasing information, go to www.sfvacc.org through August 3rd at 5 o'clock. Now it is my privilege to introduce our three newest members, Cheryl Mann, Mary Levine, and Rosemary Altschuler. My fellow artist, Judy Dickel, will tell you a bit about our friend Rachelle Marks. Thanks for zooming in.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Along with presenting our virtual art exhibit, which we call In Full View, we honor and remember a very special artist friend. I and so many of us in Artist Co-op 7 have been blessed to have known Rachelle Mark, who died last February 2020. Rachelle was a vibrant and exciting person who never stopped exploring life and expressing what she saw and felt through her amazing art. Her art was a reflection of all of her feelings and interests, which were many. You can see so much of Rachelle in her art. She was always looking for new ways to experiment, new media to work with, new tools to try, and in working as she did, finding new and exciting solutions for how she could express herself through the process of making art. As we look through just a tiny fraction of Rachelle's artworks in this slideshow, you can feel and see Rachelle's force coming through. You see amazing color, design, texture, calming and spiritual elements, and so much more. In Rachelle's own words, she talked about memories of place, looking for light, color, and movement of a specific time. What makes all of this work? She would always ask and ponder. Rachelle was never afraid to take risks when making art, as long as she was following her path to get wherever she wanted to go. Several of us were fortunate enough to travel together to make art in new and exciting ways. And pretty soon you will see a slide where several of us were fortunate enough to travel together to make art in new and exciting ways. In one of these slides, you can see our little band of artists in Guanajuato, Mexico. I remember times of sharing so much laughter and exploration and nonstop working together. Rachelle is always in our hearts and will be missed by family, friends, and all who were lucky enough to have known her. Please keep watching our program because now you will meet each of our exhibiting artists. Thank you.
I've always loved drawing and painting since I was a child. This took me to Massachusetts College of Art in Boston, where I studied for 5 years. After I moved to Los Angeles, I studied with the incomparable Alex Williamsons for 8 years at Every Woman's Village. I was greatly influenced by Alex to explore right brain techniques, which totally changed my painting style for the better. I have also been inspired by other artists and teachers along the way, like Henri Matisse, George O'Keeffe, Paul Klee, Paul Gauguin, Marc Chagall, and in recent years, British watercolorist Shirley Trevena, whose DVDs I have devoured. I now study with a talented group of teachers and artists at Co-op 7 at the San Fernando Valley Arts and Cultural Center in Tarzana. I have a colorful style, and I try to make my compositions both inventive and compelling. When I am painting and drawing, I am totally absorbed, and hours feel like minutes. I always hope my finished paintings will appeal not only to myself, but to others as well.
I'm honored to be a member of the co-op and am continually inspired by the creativity and skill of our members. We're a diverse and talented family. My artwork in this exhibit is developed and evolved over the past year or two. All pieces are, at least in part, derived from quick contour drawings of the human form based on live models. Nuanced gradations of light and shadow are replaced by jarring juxtapositions of colors, outlining and defining body contours. The patterns are developed over time and may change depending. Many reflect the fabulous variety of colors and patterns found in nature: birds, reptiles, insects, and more. The space around the form is stark, often black, and often populated by mythical collage creatures, only suggesting what may lie behind. I use a diverse array of media, many types of paint, pens, markers, glitter glue, by the way. We don't want glitter going everywhere. This is fun, and I'm always surprised by the results. These pieces depict a chimerical view of what might be, with a rainbow of effects layered on the human form, an imagining of vision without limitations. Thank you for being with us in our virtual space. I yield my time to my friend and teacher, Adria Becker.
Hi, I'm Adria Becker, a teaching artist. I primarily work with oil on canvas in addition to drawing on paper.
How was
I
that?
went to an exhibit at the Getty of Edouard Manet and discovered that many of his pieces were done with oil pastels, which inspired me to start a series using this medium. And the challenge of having a model pose via Zoom provided the opportunity to do portraits. It posed a great artistic challenge, placing a single figure on the page, concentrating the interest on the face, and interpreting the sitter through my lens. I hope you enjoy seeing these portraits as much as I enjoyed drawing them. If you'd like to see more of my work, please visit adriabecker.com, and let me introduce you to Selina Cheng.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. My name is Selina Cheng. My painting journey started pretty late in life. I didn't paint as a kid, but when I first started, I was fortunate to found the Co-op 7 and met a group of very talented artists. I was encouraged by them and painted with them, and we had moved on a very exciting journey. I love watercolor. I like the transparency. I love the color moves and blends effortlessly. So to me, painting is a journey of discovery and adventure. The best thing is there are so many ways to do a paint a subject. There's no right or wrong way. And very so often I'm surprised by the result of the painting that I was working on, and because they seem to have evolved over time. And it's always a delight to see an image emerged surprisingly. And I generally want to create something that I enjoy looking at, and I hope my viewers will too. My style is generally one of bold colors and fluid strokes, but I always like to try new things. Of all the painting in this exhibit, they are in two distinct series. The first series focuses on contrast of colors and patterns. I use black and white geometric patterns to bring out the colors of the flowers and the form. And the second group focused on seascapes painted on Yupo. And Yupo is a plastic synthetic surface that allows the colors to flow and mix by itself, and is perfectly for sea and skies. If you'd like to see more of my paintings, please visit my website at selinachangart.com. I hope you enjoy the show today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming this afternoon. My name is Jody Church. Looking at these pieces that were chosen for the show, I can see how much I have grown as an artist since becoming a member of the Artists Co-op. The freedom of expression, vibrant color combinations, and playfulness shows that I'm learning to let myself go more. Not an easy thing for those who know me well. I had a lot of fun with the drip method that was shared by Susie Gesundheit, and you'll see that in Patchwork Village and Letting Go. I have always been inspired also by Matisse, who often tells stories in his work. In Sanctuary, I told a story about my own life. And finally, I'm very grateful and excited to say that I've already sold 3 of the pieces showing today. So now I'd like to introduce our next artist, Judy Deckel.
Hi, everybody. I am Judy Deckel, and I'd like to talk a little bit about why I make art. My art is a reflection of what I see when I look at the natural elements of nature all around me. I am always seeing the shapes, colors, light, shadows, and defining lines that will make up the total image. Sometimes I gather up all of these elements and create something new out of my imagination. I also look inside myself, and am so influenced by my own history and travels through life. I draw upon my experience and interests in all of the things that have been important to me and that have made me who I am today. I try to bring a lot of this information into my art. How I put all of this together on a 2-dimensional surface, whether as a printmaker, watercolorist, or with a mix of various media, is what becomes very exciting for me as an artist. I find that there is no finish line in sight. The possibilities to create my work are endless. This is why I make art and hope I never have to stop until I have to stop. Thank you for coming.
I've been a member of the Artists Co-op for about 6 years. And I have to say my association with all of these wonderful artists has enriched my life immensely. The 5 drawings that I am showing were done after a trip to France. The point of the visit was to see the World War I battlefields. It was, of course, quite depressing, and the art was very bleak. And in spite of the darkness there, however, there was one artist in particular whose work for some reason just spoke to me. His name was Otto Dix. His work was done in black and white. It was very graphic and very depressing. But fortunately, after the battlefields, we went to Paris, which of course never fails to inspire with the museums, the galleries, and the general ambiance of the city. At l'Orangerie, I fell in love with an artist named Marie Laurentian, whose work was almost Chagall-like and kind of Art Deco, but interestingly, still of the same period of Otto Dix. It was strange to feel close to these 2 quite different artists, but I think they both influenced my work. The period after World War I was so interesting artistically. There was such a flowering of all the arts. The drawings I did are simple in black ink on watercolor paper. I wanted them to reflect a sort of feeling of Europe between the wars, and I hope you enjoy them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karen Alpert Entes. I have devoted the last few years to figure drawing and am curious to the many ways one can express the human figure as an art form. Experimenting with a variety of materials such as watercolor, pen, ink, oil pastel, soft pastel, pencil, charcoal, and collage has given me an insight as to what is possible. I continue to be challenged and make discoveries. It is a new way of seeing, thinking, feeling, and imagining. It is genuine. The inspiration comes from within and connects me to the experimental stages of the drawing. My experience with ceramic for 10 years taught me what volume looks like. When I view the finished product in its two-dimensional form, I see a softness, lightness, and feminine approach. The composition is a setting that depends upon the model poses. In full view would not be possible without Art Co-op 7. I wish to thank them for this wonderful opportunity to share my paintings with others on this platform. Thank you.
I'm Ann Gerstenfeld, and I come from a family steeped in the arts. As a kid, I loved arts and crafts, and as a teenager, I participated in classes on Saturdays at the Art Institute in Chicago. But then life got in the way of my painting, of my pursuing my art. Even though raising a family and continuing my education caused my artistic endeavors to become dormant, I did, however, express my creative side through teaching, practicing psychotherapy, and designing and making beaded jewelry. 18 years ago, I rediscovered my early self with Artist Co-op 7, a wonderful family of artists who share learning and exhibiting together here. I use painting in watercolors to express myself and my mood, and as a form of meditation. In fact, the focused attention required by painting is a form of self-hypnosis, so that I find myself more relaxed after leaving my studio. Travel has been a big part of my life, and my paintings are primarily inspired from photos I've taken. You can usually recognize my work by the strong color, contrasting values, or ink lines, and I like to use lines and white to create movement and rhythm around the page, and perhaps express a feeling of lightness and fun as well. And lastly, I use saran wrap, salt, alcohol, and more in much of my work to create texture and incorporate collaging with tissue paper, printed papers, and torn paper pieces. Every discarded painting for me can be reused by cutting and tearing it to make a greeting card, which I so enjoy sending and sharing with others. I guess retirement for me is somewhat like returning to my childhood. Thank you again for coming.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susie Gesundheit. I'm an artist in many mediums, including monotype, oil, watercolor, and collage. In 1994, I became an Artist Co-op team instructor. Since then, I have been studying and teaching right brain drawing, color theory, and design, as we learned originally from our mentor, Dr. Alex Willemsens, who taught us structure with freedom of expression. The monotypes I'm showing here are a bridge for me between painting and collage. I can brush or roll ink onto cut template shapes, place onto a plexiglass plate with various glued papers, and roll through a press, and then I'll be printmaking and collaging paper simultaneously. It's actually called sheen collé. Both the monotypes and the oil paintings in this exhibit from me are images originating from built and natural environments, old shacks in the Sierras of California, and wild mustangs in the Owens Valley, where I visited many times and feel very at home with rustic and earthy subjects. My works here are reflecting exploration and enjoyment of my process of applying color and texture to many different surfaces. And I presently have a studio with a printmaking press in Ventura, California. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Daphne Gilboa. I have been a proud member of Artist Co-op 7 since 1991. And in 1995, I joined the teaching team and became a member of its art panel. I like drawing and painting. I use watercolors, acrylics, and oils. My paintings are mostly inspired by photos I took while traveling. As you can see, my paintings are more often abstract in their nature. I use my photos as a starting point. Then I study them by drawing and planning where my darks and light are. After that, the original photograph is put aside and my whole body and mind and subconscious come to play. As you can see, the colors I choose are definitely not reflecting reality. I let my emotion react to the subject. When I paint, I mostly see shapes and movement. I try not to fall into the trap of subject matter. Some of my paintings that are not in this show are more experimental and intuitive. I don't stick to one style and I don't believe in one technique. Every painting is a journey. About this exhibit, summer of 2017 was inspired by a hot summer day on the beach in Netanya, Israel. The painting size is 40 inches by 60 inches and was painted in acrylic. 5 a.m. at Mono Lake is the other painting to the right. It's an 18 by 24 watercolors. It was inspired by my trip with Artists Co-op 7 to Mono Lake at 5 a.m. to watch the golden sunrise. Yes, 5 a.m. in the morning. You are hearing me correctly. Yes, we are crazy, and we repeated this trip a few times. Every time was exciting as the first time. Warm Icefield 24 by 18 watercolor was inspired by my trip to the Canadian Rockies. Definitely not the colors I saw on the ice. Nature is a 24 by 18 watercolors, was inspired by a fallen tree in the Sierra Mountains. Mono County, California, a large 4.5 feet by 8 feet long, unstretched canvas, painted in acrylic. It was painted stretched and stable to the wall in my studio, and inspired also by one of our many trips to Mammoth and its surrounding. I hope you enjoyed the show, and you are welcome to view more of my art on my website, daphnasart.com. Thank you very much for joining us, and now I present Jean Han, who we love.
Thank you, Daphna. I am Jean Han, and thank everyone for coming today. I'm showing a series of my recent life drawings selected by our longtime co-op exhibit curator, Helen Kim, for this In Full View exhibit. The drawings, paintings, and collages in the show are drawn from live models, a subject I have been continually exploring with and among co-op artists since 1986. And as you see, every one is a surprise and always new for me. Charcoal, pastel, ink, watercolor, collage, mixed media are my usual material, although I will work in acrylic and oil. My work draws from personal sources, emotions, and natural energies, and is expressed through multiple approaches as a personal process of discovery. I believe art enhances our joy of being alive. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Kay, and until a few years ago, I never thought about becoming an artist. I really wanted to be an archaeologist, but in the 1950s, women's options leaned more towards becoming a teacher, nurse, or secretary. And so I became a nurse, just like my mom. What brought me to Co-op 7? It was a serendipitous happening when I had to give up my longtime passion for horses and horse shows. A casual acquaintance spoke enthusiastically about her figure drawing class with Co-op 7. I decided to give it a try, and that first class several years ago led to my participation today in today's exhibition. The paintings on exhibit include 3 watercolors, 2 oil pastels, and 1 chalk pastel. For me, watercolor requires you to relinquish control of the medium, whereas oil pastel requires a lot of elbow grease on the part of the artist to apply and blend the colors. Chalk pastels are literally a happy medium. I like the way they move across the page and lend themselves so readily to blending. So at present, I would say they're my favorite. However, I look forward to experimenting with many other mediums and processes. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the exhibit.
Hi, I'm Mary Levine, and after a 50-year hiatus from art, I have come back to my creative self. I'm a new member to Co-op 7. In fact, I've only been taking classes from Co-op 7 for a little over a year. Drawing has become a meditative place for me, especially during these troubled times. Art can tell you truths about how you see your world and yourself that no one else can. Through Co-op 7, I have been experimenting with new techniques and new media, and most importantly, meeting some wonderful, kind artists. My art continuously amazes me. Thank you for coming to our first online art show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Cheryl Mann, and as a small child, I lived on a farm and felt very isolated. But I soon discovered that drawing and painting made me happy, that I loved it, and it was my best friend. As I grew up, I realized that art was a necessary means for me to express myself. And my other love is traveling around the world and taking photographs of all the incredible things that I see. And then these become the inspiration for many of my paintings. As you can see, the top painting, that stillness on the creek, and it was inspired by photos I took hiking through Malibu Creek State Park. On the bottom left is Warrior of the Amazon, and I painted that after my travels through the Amazon of Brazil. To the right of that is Samburu Woman, which I was inspired to paint after my safari with my parents to Kenya. And we visited many Samburu villages, and I was struck by the boldness and the brightness of their colors that they wore. My hope going forward is to continue to travel when it becomes safe and take pictures of new things that I see and incorporate them into my art so that I can share them with everyone. So thank you very much for joining us, and stay safe.
For those who might have tuned in late, I will reintroduce myself. I am Debbie Saunders. I've been painting and creating artwork my entire life, being part of Artists Co-op 7 for over 25 years. Over the years, I have explored pretty much every medium. I am mostly known for my watercolors, oil paintings, and collages. Recently, I became interested in poured acrylics, which is what I am showing in this exhibit. I am pleased with how I let my lifetime of experience and acquired knowledge literally pour out of me in the creation of these pieces. I love painting like this, but the cleanup, not so much. Feel free to check out all of my work on Flickr, Debbie on the web, or just search for Debbie Saunders. Thanks for being here.
Hello, we are J&S Arts. Jeremy Hahn, the J in J&S, has been performing for the Artists Co-op 7 gallery receptions for the last 25 years. I've had the pleasure of joining him for the last 7, and perhaps like you, this is our first time doing it digitally. I'm Stephen Beitler, the S in J&S, and we are streaming live from our home at the Brewery Artist Lofts in downtown Los Angeles. Our work is rooted in contemplative practices and invites us all to be present for a time with one another. The piece you will see today features live dance of the body and camera with an original sound score I created during quarantine. We conjure a sense of ease with all of you, and for those who cannot be with us, we dissolve barriers by honoring the movement of life.
We are grateful to our 16 featured artists and especially to Pat Bates, who put together our virtual exhibition presentation, reinventing the wheel. Thank you to our loyal members and participants for your continued support. It is your participation that encourages our longevity and our long-standing belief in cooperation. I especially want to thank our exceptional teachers, our teaching team of 10 co-op artists who never tire of learning and teaching others. A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. All that is necessary is a willingness to pass on the flame. Artist Co-op 7 is a group of over 50 artists, which supports the artistic and spiritual growth of each individual member. The founding members and teachers were students of the late Dr. Alex Willemsens, an inspiring and innovative educator and accomplished artist who taught at UC Santa Cruz, UCLA, and Every Woman's Village in Van Nuys, California. Dr. Willemsens' artistic principles and process of discovery became the basis of the co-op's philosophy. Our objective is to continually strive to create and maintain an environment in which each individual can experience and develop their unique creativity through classroom study programs, workshops, and demonstrations, retreats, field trips, and varied exhibition opportunities arranged by the co-op. We do not seek a unity of expression, but rather a diversity of creative ideas distinguished by the integrations of color and form with both power and sensitivity in a variety of media and subjects. We hope that the thoughts and images of this art will share encouragement and inspiration.